Here we go.
Here we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 6. Can you believe it is episode 6 of the Stewart Sister Stories podcast? I'm Tina.
And I'm Charity.
Today, it's going to be another episode that Charity does most of the talking because I don't know why, but she seems to have the funniest stories. I guess I'm boring.
I think you are.
I think I must
agree
be.
with that. Everything's a story. You just got to make it better.
I've got to think about that. There's got to be a way to do that with some of my stories.
Stories are all around you.
Charity is going to talk about a reoccurring problem that she has experienced over the years. Charity?
Since I was like 17, I think.
Excuse me.
Will you edit that out?
Okay. Yes,
You'll edit that out?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So
I can't edit that out on YouTube. Well, I can, but I don't know how.
Okay, so they'll just have to hear you.
Yes, you'll just have to hear it.
Okay, there you go. It happens to the best of us.
It's real.
This is real TV again with no makeup on for me, and
I have makeup on.
do not today. So I will start with my first job was at lovely McDonald's, and when people complain about McDonald's, there you go. I enjoyed working there. I had fun. That's where I made most of my friends. And I had fun, and I was amazed at how well run it was. Like, this is exactly how you make an ice cream cone. This is exactly how many swirls go on the ice cream cone. This is exactly how much ice.
Best practices?
Yes, they just had everything. They knew this is how much ketchup has to go on a hamburger because they've tested people, and that's what people like. And this is how much mustard should go on. It was crazy. So I was working there, and I was probably like 17. And I was cooking for the first time. I had moved up the corporate ladder of McDonald's. I was on the grill, they called it. I was kicking butt. I was back there frying me some hamburgers, frying me some double cheeseburgers. I was doing awesome. And then I fell. I guess the floor, I'm sure it's quite greasy, right? It's McDonald's. So I fell, and I remember I couldn't get back up. So you're just stuck there on your butt, and I couldn't get up. So they lifted me up. And then they thought I'd broken my arm.
Ouch.
I know. So they said, who should we call? And being, 17 years old and quite intelligent, I said, call my boyfriend because he'll get here quicker than my parents will.
I'm sure mom and dad appreciated that.
So they called my boyfriend. At the time, he had just like something happened to his ankle, or I don't know what it was, or his knee. So he was hobbling around on crutches.
I remember that. It was Kyle, right?
Kyle, yes. So he comes hobbling in on his crutches to pick me up. Oh, and I'm like, oh, can't hold my arm, right on my arm because it's just hanging. So we hobble into his truck, his little red truck.
I remember his little red truck.
And he drives me to the hospital. And then they called, my manager at the time called mom and dad and said, we've taken your daughter to the hospital. We think she's broken her arm. So they show up at the hospital. In the hospital, we got there first, myself and Kyle, and they said, we can't do anything till your parents get here anyways. So I just had to sit there and wait. And then, even Clark Stringham, the owner of that McDonald's franchise.
That particular, yes.
He showed up to make sure I was okay.
And he also wanted to make sure you weren't going to sue him.
That was probably it. Yes,
Probably.
he's probably making sure there wasn't a lawsuit involved. And so they told me I dislocated my shoulder. So my shoulder, instead of being here, like up at the top, it goes down a little bit.
Ooh.
And so it's just down here a little bit. And so what they have to do is they have to do x-rays of the dislocation, and that hurts. And then they pop it back in. They give me Demerol or morphine. And then they just and pop it back into place, which feels so much better. And then give me a sling to wear. And they said, it's probably going to happen again.
Which it did.
Yes, which it did many times after that. They said it's probably going to happen again and again, because once it's happened, it's likely to happen again. And they told me, this is something interesting, that a dislocation hurts more than a broken bone.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
Interesting, huh? And so, okay, I go on with life. Kyle and I broke up because you're 17, you're young, you're not going to marry your first love. And then I was working at Sutherland's,
which is a lumber company.
Yes, like Home Depot.
A lumber store. Yes.
Yep, I was working there. And there was a boy there that asked me, and I think Tito or something, that was his nickname. I don't remember. And so I was like, yeah, sure, we'll go do something. So he said, I'm going to take you ice skating. I had never been ice skating before. So I'm like, okay, sure, let's go ice skating. And what was funny is my husband now, Blake, he had asked me out for that same night.
Really?
And I couldn't because I'd made a date already with this other dude.
Yes.
That seems bizarre. I was looking at photos I did, like, that seems wrong. Anyways.
Maybe that's not the right story.
I know. Maybe I'm
I think she's mixing a couple of stories. She's confused on the timeline.
I am. I'm confused. I'm like, where was it? But I distinctly remember. Okay, so we went ice skating.
Anywho.
Anyways, we went ice skating and I fell.
You fell.
Dislocated my shoulder. And I know, like, I've done this before. I know the pain. And so I'm just sitting there on my butt on the ice skating rink. And, you know, your butt's getting colder and colder as you're sitting there. And I can't get up because you use your arms to push up and I can't get up. And so he skates over, you know, says, what's going on? I said, I've dislocated my shoulder. I can't get up. It's another lady. She rushes over. What's going on? How can I help? And I said, I've dislocated my shoulder. She said, oh, you don't know. I'm a nurse. Let me check. Oh, okay. You're right. I don't know. And she says, oh, yep. You've dislocated your shoulder, honey. Yep, I know. So they helped me up and he's like, okay, what am I supposed to do? What do I do with you?
What is he supposed to do?
I said, you have to take me to the hospital so they can pop it back in. It's like, I've got to take you to the hospital. You've got to take me to the hospital.
And he's thinking, this is just the first day.
This is the first day.
How much do I owe this girl? Can we just call your parents?
Can they just come and get you? And like driving to the hospital, you're holding it in place because if not, your arm just like hangs.
Oh, nasty.
Like hangs really low, so you have to hold it in place. And every bump you hit, you're like, oh. And I will admit, I swear, every time it pops out,
that sounds reasonable.
Yes, I say, oh shit, every single time. So it's oh, and he gets me to the hospital, and they want to take X-rays. And so he's standing in the room with me, and the lady starts taking my shirt off in front of me. Oh, striptease show going on. And I said, oh, what are you doing? And she said, oh, he can't see this? I said, no, he can't see this. It's a first date. He can't see any of this.
Oh, that's funny.
I know. So then he laughed, and you know what?
He never asked you out again?
Never asked me out again.
You were too much trouble on the first date.
That first date was a little rough.
He was worried about the second one. What's that going to entail?
And then I remember my husband, not at the time, but
later on.
Yes, he came over like 2 days later or something and brought me flowers and told me, you should have gone out with me. We wouldn't have gone ice skating. And that is true. We should have done that. So it got to a point where it didn't matter what I did, the shoulder would pop out. So I've had 3 surgeries on it.
3? I didn't realize that.
The first one is experimental and we didn't know it.
Okay.
Yes. So I have this screw just floating around in my shoulder now. Just floating. It's not attached to anything because it's supposed to be a screw to hold everything in place.
And it's just floating around?
It's just floating around in there.
Can it move to other parts of your body?
No, it will stay there.
Okay.
So you want to hear my cheesy joke?
What?
I'm a screw loose. I'm a loose screw, literally. I literally have a loose screw. And so on one of the surgeries I had, we did the surgery and we were driving home.
I like this. This is the best part of the story.
Driving home from the hospital.
And it's late at night, isn't it?
It's late at night. It's late at night. And they don't even make me change my clothes because they've done a surgery and my arm's in a sling. So they don't want me to move my arm. So I go home in a hospital gown is what I go home in. And then we have Cody in the back seat.
He's
probably 2 years old.
Okay.
My son. Yeah. He's probably like 2
he's
years
in his
old.
car seat.
He's in the car seat. And we're driving on the freeway in the Ford Tempo. Okay. A blue Ford Tempo. It is a family sedan. It is not. And Blake apparently cut some people off, some hips.
I can't imagine Blake doing that.
I know, he's such an excellent driver. No. Apparently he cuts them off. So they're big old huge Ford pickups.
How many trucks were there?
There was like 3.
They were all together?
There was like 3 of them all together. So they pull up beside
Are you on the freeway?
We're on the freeway. Okay. So they pull up beside us to let us know that they're angry with us. I'm like, Blake, what's happening? What's going on? He's like, I don't know. They're just mad. So he signals to get over to get off the freeway, and they won't let him. And if he speeds up, they speed up. If he slows down, they slow down. There's like one on each side of us.
I always just picture this girl going home in her hospital gown with the little
Kid in the back seat, a car seat, and our family Ford sedan or whatever. And then there's one behind us. So Blake speeds up, they speed up. So at this point, I start crying. Honey, just give me home. Can't they see I'm in a hospital gown? Can't they see we have a child in the car seat? Just get me home. And he looks at me. What the hell do you think I'm trying to do? And so then it speeds up really fast. And then he zooms over and gets us off the freeway to where we're almost past the exit. Like, I think we may have driven a little bit of dirt.
So that way they can't back up.
They can't do anything. At that time, there were no cell phones.
Yeah,
Because
so you
now
could
you
call the
think-
police.
We could have called the police, right? So this has bothered us, but we didn't have that. So he got me home. We survived that incident.
I think that's so funny.
And
Oh,
so you would think surgery would make it better.
but it did not.
It did not make
Well,
it better.
wait, didn't it do something where if it dislocates, it's supposed to pop right back into place, right?
That's the third surgery.
Oh, okay.
That's
All
what
right.
she did.
Okay.
So then it got to the point where anytime Tina was getting a divorce, I would dislocate my shoulder.
Yes, I have had 2 divorces,
Mm-hmm.
and both times she has dislocated her shoulder. Therefore, our running joke is that what, Charity?
I can't dislocate my shoulder and you won't get a divorce.
That's right.
And you can't get a divorce or I will dislocate my shoulder again.
That's right.
So one time I was sleeping over at Tina's house.
Because
There
I
were-
was just going through a divorce and I didn't want to
Yes.
be by
So
myself.
there were 2 times that I slept
And was
at your
Cody
house.
with us?
Not at this one. The first
Okay.
time, no.
Okay.
No, she's going through divorce. And so we were both.
By the way, both of those, it was not my fault. They were both losers. Isn't that right?
Although we say a divorce is 50-50. In Tina's case, it wasn't. It was 100% zero.
Nope. Extramarital affairs on their part. Anyway,
Losers.
I know.
I know I was going to say something inappropriate, but I won't. So I was over her house. I was on a couch. She was on a couch, if I remember correctly.
And when I go through, the only thing a divorce is good for is that you lose a lot of weight. At least I do, because there have been 2 times in my life where I have not eaten food and I've probably lost 20 pounds each time. And that was going through my divorces. My first divorce, I don't know if you remember, I got really skinny. I would survive off like a half a grilled cheese sandwich and a couple of French fries every day. And that's all I'd eat.
That's all she did.
So I didn't have anything in my stomach.
No.
Yes.
No, she didn't. And I moved, I did something and my shoulder popped out of place. Well, I'd gotten to the point where I had gone to the hospital so often to have them pop my shoulder back in at the ER that they looked at my husband once and said, have we shown you how to put this back in? It would sure be a lot easier. You got enough slings at home, don't you? And Blake's like, yes, we got plenty. And they said, okay, here's how you pop it back in. So they finally showed my husband how to pop my shoulder back into place because they told him the quicker you get it in, the better. So my shoulder popped out at Tina's house and I woke her up and I said, Tina, my shoulder's dislocated. And she's like, oh, Charity.
I don't feel so good.
Yeah, I don't feel so good. I
Not a lot of sympathy. I don't have anything in my stomach.
I can't deal with this right now.
I can't look at you. You'll
I
make me
can't
sick.
look at you. Your arm's hanging. What am I supposed to do? Call Blake. He can pop it back into place. So she calls Blake and gets done, and it's still like very. He says he has to put his eyes in. It'll be a little bit. Oh my gosh, he has to put his contacts in. That's going to take him forever. Tina, just call an ambulance. I don't care because McDonald's had to pay for it every time it happened.
Yes, because workers' comp.
Because workman's comp. Yep. If it happened every so often, and if I saw a doctor every so often, it was a continuous injury related to my first injury. It's like, I don't care. You call an ambulance. Somebody needs to get here. So I think Blake did make it. He popped it back in, brought a sling. It was all good.
Yes.
And then it happened again at your house, another divorce.
Was it? It must have been the same house then.
Probably.
It had to have been. No. The first one was at the apartment. I lived in an apartment.
Okay.
Then the second one was at the place that I lived with. That was the duplex.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
So then this one, I was staying overnight, if I remember correctly, with my son, with Cody at the time.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And so we had just woken up. We had to brush our teeth. We had morning breath. We looked nasty, but it was, I'm just going to drive home. So I remember I said a prayer before we left
Why?
to help me get home safely.
Oh, because you were tired.
I was tired. Help me get
Okay.
home safely. Make sure I'm
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And I sneezed in the car.
Had you left yet?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I was driving and I sneezed and my shoulder popped right back out. And I think this might have been after the second surgery too. And it popped right back out again. And I remember thinking, are you serious? I said a prayer. I said a prayer that I would get home safely. And this is how it's getting answered. I'm like, what the heck? So I'm like, your arm's hanging again. I'm driving like this. And I'm thinking,
How'd you not pass out?
I do not know, because I about do. And I thought, I've got to get to a hospital, but I have no idea how to get to a hospital.
Charity was not very good at directions at that
my
time.
gosh, heavens no. I knew how to get to
She would panic if she had to go to Salt Lake.
yes, if I had to drive by the freeway, it was like, that ain't happening. I not do the freeway. And then even now, which way are we going? If I get out of Utah, we go north, south.
Well, I'm like that too, but here
Yeah.
in Salt Lake, I can figure it out.
I'm better now. But I remember thinking, I have no idea where a hospital is and I need to go. So I just kept getting these feelings. Turn here, turn
Oh, you
here, turn
did?
here. Yeah, turn here, turn here. I don't know where I was going.
How come I can't ever get feelings like that?
You didn't say a prayer before. So I'm just turning. I have no idea where I'm turning. And all of a sudden I end up at St. Mark's Hospital.
Wow.
And I remember saying, oh, Cody, we made it. It's a hospital. We made it.
Were you able to get him out of the car seat or did you have to have them come out and get him?
Miraculously, I was able to get him out of the car seat too.
Wow.
And that was hard. So I'm using it's my right one. See, I'm even holding it for you if you're watching a YouTube video. And I'm using the right one. And Cody learned, and then Michaela learned too, that I put my arm around them and then they grab my neck.
Because it happened so much?
Because they were so used to mom only having one arm. And they grab my neck and I pull them up. So I pulled them up, went to the hospital. I was like, dislocated shoulder.
Oh, awful.
And so then they said, well, who should we call? Should we call somebody to help with your child? And I said, well, yeah, call my mom and dad, because Blake was out of town at the time. So they called mom and dad, and that's when they said, any chance you'd be pregnant? And I said, yeah, there's a possibility.
And you were?
And I was pregnant with Michaela.
Oh.
So they found out I was pregnant, but I had a dislocated shoulder.
Oh.
Because if I'm pregnant, they can't give me morphine.
Right.
They have to give me Demerol. If I'm not, then they can give me morphine. So
Okay.
they had to give me Demerol to relax me so they could pop it back in. And so I remember sitting there like in so much pain because they hadn't popped it back in. And our mom, honey, did you hear that? You're pregnant, honey.
And
Did
you're
you hear
thinking,
that?
I don't even care.
I don't even care right now. I don't even care. So they got it put back in again. And then I finally had another surgery on it.
This was the surgery that helped.
Yes. And so now what it does is it will quickly go out, but then it will go back in.
How often does it do that?
Not as much as it used to. It did
Oh, that's
happen
good.
last night.
Or is that because you don't move?
I don't move anymore. I sleep. I'm not active. That's a good one.
Charity has found the more time she spends on the couch, the fewer times her shoulder dislocates.
If I just stay at home on the couch, it's a much safer environment.
It did it last night?
It did last night.
And
which
did it
was
hurt really
surprising.
bad?
I go, ow! Blake is so used to me saying ow or swearing when it pops out. He kind of just ignores it now. And so very slowly he's like, you okay?
And is it just like a
And I
big pop
said-
to come
I said,
back in?
My shoulder just popped out and popped back in.
Does
No,
it
you
just-
it
is
just goes.
Ew.
And they said, and I remember after the surgery, I told them, I said, it keeps going out and in. They said, that's what's supposed to happen. Really? That's fixed? And that's when I thought I have the screw that's just floating around.
Okay.
And I said, should you take this screw out that I have just floating around in me?
Will it traverse, like
And
go
he-
somewhere to my brain or?
like, poop it out.
They're like, just check your stool every time you go to the bathroom. Let us know. Let us know when it passes.
There may be some bleeding involved. We don't know.
You might bleed from your rectum a little
But
bit.
it's okay. It's fine. But he's like, no, it would be a more, is it invasive? Is worse? More evasive surgery?
Yes. Yes.
If we try
Invasive.
Invasive.
Yes.
If we try to kick it out. So we're just going to leave it in there.
Okay.
So we just leave it in there. And you have mentioned, Tina has noticed that I favor my right shoulder, like still. Sometimes when I walk,
Oh, yeah.
she'll say, I notice you're still favoring your
Yeah.
right shoulder. And so my massage therapist thinks that's why I might have tennis elbow in my left.
Oh, that's
Because this arm is finally tired.
maybe you need to see a physical therapist.
Maybe I do.
Oh,
So now the left side of me is bothering me. Not the
Oh.
right. But that's just part
you
of the
and
aging
just
process.
to end this, you and Susan, our older sister, used to have a joke.
Which one? We have a lot.
No, about the sides of your body.
Oh, okay. So see, my right side of the body was all messed up.
Yes.
Because I had the shoulder dislocation, I had a lumpectomy, I had knee surgery, and I had surgery on my foot.
And Susan.
And they were all on the right side.
Yes.
Susan was all on the left side of her
Yes.
body.
She had her breast.
Uh-huh.
What else did she have? Is that where her spurs were taken
Her
out?
spurs. So we said, if we put us two together, we had a perfect body. We just had to clone us.
Yep.
And then we would have made a good body. But separate, we were not good.
Well, gosh, Charity, thank you for sharing your story about your dislocated shoulder today.
Yes, I let students know that if it does dislocate, we go over this like the first week of school and you go over classroom procedures.
Yes.
That if it does dislocate, I will swear, and I'm so sorry. I'm also going to say
Have you done that? Have you sworn?
in front of them.
Yeah.
Only one time when I was telling a story about my dog, and
Oh,
I
okay.
swore, and I didn't realize that I did. And they all started laughing and said, "It's okay. We heard your dumb dog."
Okay.
But no. And I told them, I said, "I'm going to swear, and I'm so sorry." And then I said, "This person is in charge of calming me down, whoever it may be, because this person seems very mellow.
Oh, okay.
This person is in charge of calling the office. You just go to the phone, hit the 0 and say, 'She's down.
Yeah.
Mrs. Clark is down.' And the rest of you will just sit in the room and wait for somebody in the office to show up."
Okay.
So yes, that's the protocol now.
Great. Well, hey, everyone.
Hey.
Thank you for listening and watching episode 6. As a reminder, you can find us on many podcast platforms, and we just got the okay for Apple and Google. You can find us on Apple and Google now.
Not only did I move up in McDonald's, I've moved up on the podcasts.
Yeah, when you're on Apple, you're playing with the big boys.
I'm a celebrity.
We are on Apple now. Also, be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel.
Yes.
Share and like it. Spread the word so that everyone can have a good laugh with the Stewart Sister Stories podcast.
Thank you. I agree.
Okay, we'll see you later.